He was just being a good neighbor. He was not looking for a moment. He was not scanning the street for trouble. He was not running drills or watching for smoke or waiting for something to go wrong. He was just a man on a cul-de-sac in DeLand, Florida, doing what people do on an ordinary Tuesday morning. And then he smelled smoke. He looked across Cascade Falls Lane. The house on the other side of the cul-de-sac, the one right there, the one he could see from where he was standing, had smoke coming from it. Dark, heavy smoke, the kind that does not come from a grill or a fireplace, the kind that means something is very wrong. He did not call 911 and wait. He did not stand at the edge of the property and watch for the fire department. He did not do any of the things that most people do when they realize a building is on fire. He ran. He sprinted across the cul-de-sac. He ran straight toward the burning house. He went through the front door. Inside that house was a young girl and her dog. Before the firefighters arrived, before the emergency vehicles turned onto Cascade Falls Lane, before anyone with training and equipment and protocol was anywhere near that building, a Navy veteran who did not want to be named got them both out. He was asked afterward, by the cameras that found him, what made him do it, what made him run into a burning house. He said, "I was just being a good neighbor." If you have never had a neighbor like that, subscribe right now. Every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, we bring you the people and animals that remind us who we are. Subscribe and never miss one. The fire happened on July 15, 2026, on a residential street in DeLand, Florida, a city of about 40,000 people in Volusia County, an hour northwest of Orlando. Cascade Falls Lane is a quiet cul-de-sac, the kind of street where people know each other's faces. The veteran lives there. He served in the Navy. How long, under what circumstances, in what capacity, he has not said publicly, because he has said very little publicly at all. He does not seem to want credit. The only quote he gave, off camera, barely qualifies as a statement. "I was just being a good neighbor." That is it. That is everything he offered. But the surveillance cameras saw more. The footage, obtained by local news crews and shared with Volusia County Emergency Services, captured the entire sequence. It is the kind of video that is hard to watch and harder to look away from. You can see the smoke. You can see him notice it. You can see the moment he decides, and it is barely a moment, barely a pause, and then you can see him moving. He does not hesitate at the door. He does not test the handle for heat, or peer through the window, or call out from a safe distance. He goes in. What happened inside the house in the seconds between when he entered and when he came back out, he has not described in detail. What the cameras show is what matters. He went in, and he came out, and with him came a young girl and her dog. They were out before the first fire truck arrived. Firefighters and law enforcement reached the scene as the veteran was already outside with the child. A deputy and a police officer, arriving in the initial wave of responders, assessed the situation and made their own call. There might be someone else inside. They could not be sure. So they went in too, into a building that was still actively burning. The second child they were searching for had already gotten out on her own, through a different exit, before anyone knew to look for her. But the deputy and the officer did not know that when they went in. They knew there might be a child. They went in anyway.
All three, the veteran, the deputy, and the police officer, were taken to the hospital. Smoke inhalation, minor burns, all three expected to make full recoveries. The little girl was also evaluated and treated. Her dog was safe. The fire marshal's office opened an investigation into the cause of the blaze. As of reporting, it had not been determined. And on the lawn of a house on Cascade Falls Lane, a Navy veteran who did not want to be named was asked one more time whether he considered himself a hero. He said No. If you are still watching this, subscribe. We are here every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Hit that button now. Stories like this are the reason. There is a specific kind of person who runs toward a burning building instead of away from it. Not every veteran, not every first responder. The training helps, but training does not fully explain it. Something else does. Something that has to do with how you see other people. Whether the stranger across the cul-de-sac is really a stranger, or whether she is something else, a neighbor, a person, someone who matters. The veteran on Cascade Falls Lane had no way of knowing who was inside that house when he ran across the street. He did not know the girl, he did not know the dog. He did not know whether there was one person or 5 people or no one. He ran because there was smoke and the house and the possibility that someone needed help. That is it. That is the whole calculation. The girl and her dog are safe because of it. The deputy and the police officer who followed him in, who went into that building without knowing what they would find, without knowing the second child had already escaped, made the same calculation. They did not know it was already over. They went in anyway because it might not have been, because there might have been a child. There was no hesitation visible in any of them. The surveillance footage does not show a moment of deliberation. It shows people moving toward danger because someone might need them. That is a thing that is easy to say and very hard to do. Most people do not do it. Most people, and this is not a criticism, step back. They call 911. They wait. They do the reasonable thing. The reasonable thing, in this case, would have left a little girl and her dog inside a burning house. A lot of people, in the days after the fire, tried to make the veteran talk more. News cameras, local reporters, the general appetite for a good story about a good person. He declined. He gave his one line, "I was just being a good neighbor," and he went back to his life on Cascade Falls Lane. He still lives there, right across the cul-de-sac. The fire investigation continues. The family whose house burned is getting the kind of support that communities offer when something like this happens. And somewhere in DeLand, Florida, a little girl and her dog are alive because the man across the street looked up at the right moment and decided without deliberating that the right thing to do was run. He was not looking for a moment. He found one anyway. And because of it, a young girl got to go home. A dog got to go home. 2 first responders did their jobs and came home. And a quiet cul-de-sac in Volusia County has a story that will be told for a long time, about a man who said he was just being a good neighbor and meant every word of it. Thank you for watching. If this stayed with you, subscribe and share it. We are here every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Every video is a rescue that deserves to be seen. We will be back Monday. Until then, thank you.